Salute, this is Miracle J. Welcome to the Catastropiece. I'm back with another episode, and this episode will be dedicated to TBI survivors, which I myself am a part of that community. I'm a TBI survivor, but there's a specific power that I want to share that's a secret. It's a hidden secret. It must be because I'm in that community. And as I browse through this community of TBI survivors, I do not get a sense of power. So I would like to share a secret that could help give some power back to that community because it's much needed. See, I'm someone who have experienced both ends of the spectrum. What am I talking about? What is this secret that is going to give back power to TBI survivors? Number one, I live my life personally by code. And one part of my code is that I survive, adapt, and I thrive in any environment. Any environment I find myself in, no matter what, I first survive, I adapt to the new situation, and I thrive in that situation. So I don't consider myself a TBI survivor. I consider myself a TBI thriver. And personally, I'm here to change the community. I'm here to make an impact in this community because it's much needed. It's much needed. I'm here to give power back. And what is this secret that I have? What is this concept that I have that can give power back? Well, it's called frame control. When you control the frames of your life, you take back a tremendous amount of power. What is this frame control? So you have the situation, you have a picture. The picture is the situation. So that is what it is. And then that picture has a frame around it. What is the frame? The frame is the underlying tone or mood of the picture, of the situation. It could be whatever you want. You can't change the picture, but you can always change the frame. And again, I've experienced both sides of the spectrum. I've seen my traumatic brain injury from the perspective as this is the worst thing that could ever happen to me in my life, which is the perspective that the outside has towards these types of situations. It's a catastrophe. Reminds me of my podcast name, The Catastropiece. But using frame control, I've taken a catastrophe and turned it into a catastropiece. What is a catastropiece? Again, the name of this podcast. So when you take a catastrophe and you turn it into a masterpiece of your life, combine the two, and you get a catastropiece. So I'm someone personally who went from seeing a traumatic brain injury as something that was the worst to something now that I see is the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. Most people are probably like, how could you say something like that? Let me give you the two perspectives. On one hand, it was, oh man, I'm starting my life over. I lost the ability to walk. I lost the ability to use some of my limbs. I lost the career that I wanted. I lost friends. This sucks. My life is over. I have to start over. I have to start from scratch. Blah, 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 blah. I'm always in a hospital. I'm having surgeries. Now, what's the other end of that spectrum that I now have? That this is the best thing that ever happened to me. Wow, I have a new slate. I can start clean. I can wipe my past clean and build on a new foundation. I see the strength in it. I'm someone who had everything that an average man has, lost it all, and built it up into something more than I would have had probably if I continued on the same path that I was on. And other people see the strength in that. And as a byproduct, I have opportunities that average people will not have. Anybody with a traumatic brain injury has opportunities that the average man will not have. We have a perspective on life that changes a person. And we have a perspective on life that others will not have unless they go through us. Then they can still only get a certain extent of it because they're not living it. But through this brain injury, I've met some very powerful people that I would not have met if it wasn't for me having a brain injury. People see me in a light of inspiration because of what I've done due to this brain injury. I've been paid to speak in front of a crowd because of overcoming this challenge of a traumatic brain injury. Wow, this thing just keeps getting better and better. What else have you done? What else have you done, Miracle J? I've been paid to be on songs because of the situation I found myself in and built up due to experiencing a traumatic brain injury. I know the value of hard work. I know the value of building something from nothing, from having everything to losing it all and building it up. I have the experience of overcoming a tremendous amount of pain and fear. And I can go on and on and on and on and on. Now, do you see how I took over the frame? How I took the frame from being a victim, the victim mentality, to the frame of being a hero, an inspiration, whatever you want to call it, many different things. And I want to bring this perspective and frame control to the brain injury community. And it doesn't even have to be limited to people with just brain injuries. This can be used for anybody. Anybody who's ever gone through any type of hardship. Anybody who just has something that doesn't go their way. How do you frame it? Do you frame it as something negative? Or do you frame it as a lesson learned? Something you can learn from and grow from. There's many different ways you can see things. But this is called frame control. When you take control of a frame. The underlying tone of what's really happening. See, again, I live my life by a code, a philosophy. It's called Stoicism. And a key principle to Stoicism is that there's certain things in life that I can control. There's certain things that are within my control and certain things that are outside of my control. What can I control? I can control the way that I see my situations. I can't control what happened because it happened. I can't control what my body does. No matter if I eat right, I can eat perfect, take my meds, I can do whatever. But I can't control what my body does. I can't control how other people see me. I can't control what other people think. So what do I do with the things that I can't control? I let it go. It's none of my concern. What do I do about the things that I can't control? I control it. I control it. And I control it in a way that brings me power. I control it in a way that brings me value. I control it in a way that benefits my life. That's what I do. And there's much to gain. So, not to make this video too long, I don't want to run on and ramble on and ramble on. I can ramble on forever. But the key takeaway is control the frames of your life. Don't be a victim. Don't be a victim. You're not a victim. If you're a victim, that's a shame that you're letting your potential go to waste. But you have control over your mind. You have control over the way you think. And the way you think becomes your life. The first principle of the universe. All is mental. It's a mental universe. Through the mind, through this right here, which was injured, but I still have control over it. Through this, I create my universe. You create yours too. So take over the frame of your life. Use your brain. And gain power from your situation. It's Miracle J. See you next.